So let's face it, there was no way this video was not going to happen. You all understand that. I understand that. It's just, you saw it coming. Okay, so I understand that a review like this really needs to be handled with care. And I didn't want to wait very long to put this out for obvious reasons, both practical, it's very popular right now, and two, this movie meant a lot to me, and it means a lot to other people. Now, this franchise and these movies are so much more than just franchise and movies. It's a whole culture. This means so much to people, and I think that's awesome. I think that's absolutely awesome. So whether you're a franchise fan of it or not, you have to understand the magnitude here. You have to at least acknowledge that this means a lot to people. It meant a lot to me. And I am very much a fan of the franchise, by the way. And I'd been looking forward to this for a very long time, ever since news leaked. So with that being said, I'm not going to do any spoilers here, and I don't want to go into too much detail of really much of anything. I just kind of want to give my thoughts here. Now, The Force Awakens, I'm going to say it straight up, it was an amazing movie. And nostalgia does play a huge factor into that, but the movie itself, even if you remove the nostalgia factor, which I don't think you should, but if you do, objectively, it's still very awesome. It has pretty much everything you want in a movie. It has tons of action. Tons of action. It's so exciting. The movie was very exciting. The character development was awesome. It was so awesome. All the new characters that were introduced into this franchise were so compelling to me. They were very gripping, they were intriguing. And the chemistry between John Boyega and Daisy Ridley and their two characters, Finn and Rey, it comes at you off the screen. There were so many scenes to me that that really made my eyes well up with almost tears. I almost cried during this shit. It was I can't get over how good it was. Like, that's classic filmmaking right there. That's like classic character. There's just something that I feel like is missing in a lot of movies. And it was just great. There was so much, they were so human. There was nothing that wasn't human about this. Speaking of being human, the villain here, Kylo Ren. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but we already knew who the villain was gonna be. God, he was really human. Like, with Darth Vader, I mean, obviously he had his weaknesses and he was human technically. You had this feeling that he was so much larger than everything else, but Kylo Ren's much different. He's much different. There's so much that they included about his character that really brought home the fact that he was human and he was weak, he was flawed. Like, it was just so good. Like, it's cool to have a villain that's relatable. And the new lightsaber was really cool. You'll see. I mean, this isn't a spoiler. You know that lightsaber fights were going to happen, and the one that happens here was really neat. It wasn't super huge and choreographed and anything, super bombastic, but it was actually really gritty and raw, which was really neat. I think that was really neat. Not that there wasn't any larger-than-life action here. There was a lot of larger-than-life action here. It was so neat. It was really neat. It was visually stunning. The locations here were really neat. The cinematography was really neat. And it was just filmed, so you could tell it was handled and directed by a Star Wars fan, which J.J. Abrams admits he is, being the New Hope, being his favorite Star Wars franchise, which you can really tell because this movie really felt like a New Hope in a lot of ways. There was some taken from that. In terms of fan service, it was there, but it wasn't really thrown at you. Like, you remember this shit? Feel things. What about this shit? You remember that? Feel things. Now, the old that was brought in, this example, Harrison Ford as Han Solo, he actually had a big part in this movie. Surprisingly, I thought he was going to have like a cameo situation. No, he has an integral part, and he was still Han Solo. Harrison Ford just is Han Solo. The dialogue, the actions, the activities, just the demeanor was just all Han Solo. Speaking of humor, this movie was very funny. The jokes really landed. Han Solo was very funny. The interactions between John Boyega and Daisy Ridley were really funny. Anything that was meant to be funny was. And you also had romance here. Everything that was meant to be romantic was. And you just, you take in all spectrums of filmmaking and genre, put it all into one, and Star Wars is all of that. It's just all of that. I don't want to say a whole lot more, because I'm on the verge of really gushing here, but this movie made me gush. This is an easy 10 out of 10 for me. You don't find this type of movie every day anymore. And I'm so glad they let J.J. Abrams do it, because he's one of my favorite directors ever. And even more so now than ever. Now there's not going to be a lot of fanciness in this editing here. I just really wanted to get this out and say it. I highly recommend it. Whether you're a huge franchise fan or not, you will love this movie. There's no doubt in my mind that you'll love this movie. Just the character development, the old, I know for a fact this pleased, I know this because I'm around this a lot, this really pleased the older generations and the community that was already in place that had been looking forward to a good Star Wars movies ever since the original trilogy. So this pleased everyone. This brought in new, and this pretty much the community for Star Wars has doubled at this point. The old and the new have been brought in now. And it's so neat, and I'm really excited to see where this franchise goes. I just hope it doesn't become diluted in the future. What are your thoughts on it? If you haven't seen it, that's honestly understandable because it's hard to get tickets right now. And if you have seen it, I want to know what you think. Just be honest. Don't just get mad at, don't just get annoyed because it's such a huge thing right now. It's really neat, and this really changes the face of entertainment forever, in my opinion. So that's my thoughts on it. I'll see you guys in the next video. There's more videos coming soon, and bye.